Let's go to Leslie in Grand Rapids, Michigan. What's up, Leslie?
Hey, how you doing?
We are just rocking on to the break of dawn. What about you?
Living the dream.
Are you? What
More
is
like
that
a nightmare, but
is
it's
it good?
a dream.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. More of a nightmare. So what's going on?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking my call.
Of course. Thanks for calling.
So I got a tough one. I'm going to do my best not to be emotional because I really want to hear what you have to say.
Hey, be as emotional as you need to. You can always go back and listen.
So my husband and I lost our daughter to cancer 7 months ago.
Yikes.
And
How old
she
was
was
she?
9 months old at the time.
Holy smokes.
Yep.
Wow. What was her name? What was her name?
Sadie.
Sadie, 9 months.
Yep.
What kind of cancer?
She was born with leukemia.
God almighty. So it was in utero?
Yeah, but we didn't know it till she was about 5 months old. So she fought for about 4 months, and it just became too much for treatment. So,
yeah. Oh my gosh, that little bitty baby.
Yeah. So we have a lot going on in our lives, and
so that was. Did you say 7 months ago?
Yeah, it was 7 months ago.
Okay, so just pause right there. What's the last 7 months been? How are you and your husband doing?
It's a struggle every day, for sure. Everybody else goes on with their lives, and it still seems like we're stuck.
Yep.
But, we're still doing our thing and going to work and just trying to put one foot in front of the other.
I've found that after month 4, 5, or 6 or so, when the calls stop and the texts stop and the casseroles stop, that's when that grief becomes heavy, 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 and really dark gray.
Right. Yeah.
Is that fair? Is that what y'all are experiencing?
Yeah, it's definitely similar to that. It's very difficult, for sure.
Man. So then you say that's not all. What's next?
No. So on top of that, I'm actually currently pregnant, 4 months pregnant with our soon-to-be son.
Wow.
So
okay.
We have a lot going on.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And so all signs pointing to healthy? Everything good with son?
So far, but they won't be able to test him for cancer until he's born. So.
Okay. I'm going to put a pin in what you just said. Okay. And then we'll circle back to it. All right. But I want you to remember this moment because I'm going to bring it back up. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So keep going.
All right. So a couple questions that I have for you is, how do we process our feelings of our grief while simultaneously allowing ourselves to feel joy for this new child that's coming? We find ourselves, the outside world is so happy for us, and it makes it seem like they think that this new baby is going to, make us happy again and solve our problems. And it's hard to be excited, when we're still grieving. And then my other question was, how do we, more so probably for me, I don't know about my husband, but how do we process our fear of our new baby being a constant reminder of the baby that we lost?
Yeah. Do you have any other kids?
No, this was our first child.
Okay. Can I ask you a few questions before we dig in?
Yeah.
Okay. This isn't always, but sometimes, often, I've sat with women who blame themselves or like, my body did this thing. Do you have any sort of self-blame here? Or do you understand the rare, just struck by lightning nature of some of this?
No, yeah, I don't feel that.
Good.
Her cancer was a chromosomal thing and not a genetic thing.
Okay.
So it just was in the cards for her.
Okay. Which is both a relief and terrifying. Because she's in the cards for all of us, right? And that it brings to light how precious every single breath is, right?
Right.
Okay, so a couple of things. Number one, I want you to separate these two kids.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, with this pregnancy being on top of what feels like just such a recent pregnancy and everything is so charged, it feels like one constant stream, like one continuous day. And it's two separate people. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know that's hard, but it's something I want you to lean towards. Because when you lean into that a little bit, it will be there'll be a light that comes through the crack between the two. Okay. And that's how you're gonna honor and love Sadie. You're gonna remember Sadie. You're gonna see the bravery, and you're gonna talk about her bravery and how she fought, and those precious moments you had when she grabbed your finger. Those things that you can still feel that pressure on your finger, right? You still feel it.
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to celebrate your son as two separate events. It feels like right now that all you're going to think about is, and what I'm telling you on the other side of having two kids, it feels that way and it's going to be different. Okay? You will remember Sadie. You'll remember the experience. You'll remember the fear. And so earlier when I asked you, is he healthy? Your answer was so far. Because here's what you're doing now. Now you're waiting for the next shoe to drop. My guess is you haven't fully exhaled since you found out you were pregnant. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. So have you and your husband, I say this all the time, and it's not a catch-all, but man, it's such a gift. Have you and your husband written Sadie a letter?
No, nothing like that, no.
Okay. So what I want both of you to do is I want your husband to write Sadie a letter. 1 page, 2 page, 10 pages. I want him to tell her about his childhood. I want him to tell her about how excited he felt when he found out that y'all were having a baby, when he found out it was going to be a girl. I want him to write to Sadie and tell him how scared he was when he found out that she was sick, how brave he thought she was. And this could be one letter. It could be a couple of letters. It might be, hey, here's, I just want you to get to know your dad. And it could be, hey, here's what I experienced when you weren't doing well. I want you to know how much I loved you. And I know you were only 7 months old, 6 months old, 5 months old, but here's what I was experiencing. And then on the back end, here's how much I miss you. I just want you to know that I miss you, right? And I want you to do the same thing. And then I want y'all to read your letters to each other.
Okay.
Grief has a way of splitting people up because everybody grieves differently. How's your marriage right now?
Our marriage is good.
Okay.
I think the fact that, we were the only ones that could be there for her, and we were the only ones that got to experience the situation. We lean on each other in that way because nobody else understands what we went through.
Right. Have you joined a grief group with parents who've lost young kids?
No.
Okay.
I haven't really found any yet that
I would
relate to.
So strongly recommend that you do that. Okay. I won't walk through my personal stuff, but I'll tell you, it's having conversations with folks has been a lifeline for me.
Yeah.
Okay. It's so important. I didn't experience near what you experienced, but loss is loss. And I'll tell you, is having people that just, like you just said it, you talk to them and they go, yeah, I get it. I know. And they talk to you back and you go, oh gosh, you know what I mean? And it makes you feel a little bit less alone, which makes your brain calm down just a little bit. And then you can be a little more open and you can breathe a little bit more deeply. And it begins that's the road, the path to healing. Okay?
Yeah.
And then I want you and your husband to write letters to this new little boy about how excited you are. Here's what I'm telling you to do, and it's going to sound bonkers. I want you to go all in on him because what you're, man, I can get emotional thinking about this. You're going to want to hedge your bets.
Right.
Don't do that. Go all in on him. Risk getting hurt again like you were last time. Because it's statistically speaking, it's not going to happen, right?
I mean, we hope.
See, there you go. Now you are waiting for the next thing to happen. And what I'm telling you is, statistically speaking, it's not going to happen again. You're going to have a wonderful, excited, joyful bonkers little baby boy, pooping and peeing and yelling everything, and you know what I mean? Exactly what you hoped for. Don't hedge your bets. This is your baby, this is your child, go all in. And I want you and your husband to share in that fear. I'm nervous and I'm scared, and also that joy. It's okay to feel joy. It feels like joy for your new son is like you're cheating on, you're abandoning your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not mutually exclusive. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it feels like if you're joyful and you're like, oh, this is going to be so great, that somehow you're disrespecting your daughter. Does it feel that way?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I understand completely what you're saying.
Tell me in your own words.
I just feel like, each day that moves on and each experience that we move forward with, it's just like another step away from her.
Yeah. So here's what I want you to do. Are you listening, Leslie?
Yeah.
I want you to let her go. She's going to stay a part of you. She always will. Always, always will. But I want you to let her go. And it's going to take time. That's going to take healing. It is not it's not disrespectful to her. It's not a sign that you are leaving her if you experience joy, if you laugh, if you cheer and are excited about your new son. It's both and.
Yeah.
Because you're going to love Sadie for the rest of your life. That tough, powerful, strong, beautiful little girl is going to be with you forever.
Well, I appreciate that.
I'm telling you. You don't trust me, do you? I know you don't trust me. It's okay, though.
I do.
No, you don't have to.
See that far.
Trust me, you don't have to. You don't have to. I just want you to know joy will come again.
Yeah.
And
is there like a way to like process the trauma of, what we saw visually and, how to not have that like be a constant reminder like every day of what we went through?
Yeah. So
is there like a...
Yeah, there's several techniques. I'm going to give you the high level one. Okay. Probably you're going to, if you get caught on looping thoughts, on that ruminating thoughts of, I remember that baby. Were you with her when she passed away?
Yeah, and it wasn't a peaceful death by any means.
That's right. And that haunts you.
Yeah.
And often when we think about loved ones that we lost, especially children, we think about them now as though they're still experiencing the last moment that we held them.
Right.
And Sadie's at peace. Right now, she's at...
Right.
That last moment you spent with her, that ugliness and that grittiness and that terror, it's over. Okay? The top level, high level it's from David Kessler, just the grief master. I'd recommend at some point, maybe not now, but you and your husband, I want you all to read Finding Meaning Together. We'll link to it in the show notes. It's the single greatest book on grief I've ever read. And it's about the loss of a child, okay? But he gives this example, and I've done it on the show. I haven't done it in a while, but he asks everybody in the audience, an audience of parents who've lost a child, to imagine, I think it was a purple elephant. He said, picture a purple elephant in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have it in their mind, and then he tells them to open their eyes, and he says, there, I proved it to you. You can control your thoughts. Here's what happens. We get that picture that just lightning bolts into our mind of those last 2 minutes, those last 6 minutes, those last 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
The moment they lightning bolt into our head, we have a choice. Am I going to meditate on that, on the terror, on the fear, on my tears, on that how scary it all was? Or am I going to remember holding her? And I'm going to remember the quiet nights, the time in front of the fire, the breastfeeding nights, the time she was bouncing with dad and laughing a little bit. Am I going to remember that? Mm-hmm. And you get to choose which one of those. And over time, if you just, like my wife, she'll hear me, I'll walk through the living room, I'll be like, nope. That means something popped into my head, and I'm just telling my body I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And she'll laugh. Like, she'll be like, oh, gosh, John. She doesn't even ask me what it was. She doesn't want to know what it, but I'm conscious about, I'm not going to meditate on that. I'm not going to let that just loop in my head. I'm going to have a picture that's going to replace it. And so you can picture those last couple of minutes in the hospital, or you can go, nope, I'm not thinking of that. I'm thinking of this. And what I'll tell you is over time, your body, when you think of Sadie, it will bring back the pictures that you tell it to, that you meditate on. And it will default not to the hard stuff, because the hard stuff just trying to remind you, hey, this happened, this could happen again, it could happen again, it could happen again. Mm-hmm. And you can train your brain. We're remembering beauty. We're remembering joy. And it's a battle for a while, and it's hard because you feel like you're letting your daughter go. And I'm telling you, let her go. She's going to be with you, she's going to be with you. She's a part of you. Let her go.
Thank you.
Okay?
I appreciate it.
We love you, Leslie, and I'm so, so sorry. But you and your husband write those letters. Y'all read them to each other. And then I want you to each write a letter about how excited you are to meet your son. If you're brave, I want you to mail me a copy of that letter or email me a copy of that letter. And if you don't want me to read on the air, I won't. If you do, I'd love to, because I'd love to let everybody know how I would love everybody hear the words of a mom who's both brokenhearted and both brimming with optimism and joy. A mom who's both terrified of the next shoe that's going to drop and both hopeful. I'd love to read that letter out. It would bless, there's not a lot of people listening to the show, but actually, you know what? I'm not even making a joke in this one. It would bless a lot of people. A lot of people listening to the show. It would really be a gift. Thank you for your bravery, Leslie. We're thinking about you and your family.